Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the TGS Toku Box. It's Peace here, alongside Rapid Epsilon, and we're here to talk about xy&z and Ghost and Zyuohger and other stuff that is not Tokusatsu, because it's not just Tokusatsu stuff we're talking about here.
Yeah.
So yeah, the first episode of a show that has been in the plannings for a while, but we haven't sat down to record it till now. But we got so much shit to talk about. Ugh. Yeah, we might as well kick this off with all the xy&z material, because to start with, xy&z is going to be starting in October 2nd. It's the next Rider show after Ghost. We've had scans for like more than a month now. Actually, a little less than a month now. And on top of that, xy&z has made his first on-screen appearance in the Ghost movie that debuted this past weekend, or last weekend. So we've got all sorts of xy&z material to talk about. But initial impressions of xy&z with the purple and green and oh god, why colors?
I think so far the oh god why colors is the thing I have to complain about.
I honestly feel like it, especially since we have the suit in motion, because we've gotten commercials for the Ghost movie that have xy&z in them. It's the fucking green. I'm fine with everything about the suit except the green. The green kills everything, especially the driver, because the driver has been seen as well, physically. And it looks cheap because of the green. This neon-ass neon green.
And I'm going to point this out now. All the xy&z stuff we do have articles for.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to see those, I think I'm going to make sure they're in the description.
Mm-hmm.
Rather than try to add them into the video and edit.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
Because that'd be a lot of editing and pictures.
Yeah.
And stuff.
So feel free to kind of browse through that. Yeah. Just fair warning, you might puke with the colors.
Mm-hmm. What seems weird is xy&z seems like the only one hit hard by this current. Okay, Bray, or was it Snipe might get hit by this because he has the this neon yellow color on him. But I don't think Brave is bad with the neon blue, especially since it's silver.
Honestly, the only one that I think is gonna be bad for that is gonna be xy&z himself. The rest of it, yeah, it's bright and in your face, but it's not anything that's super contrasting against each other.
Mm-hmm.
That's it's one of those. Yeah, that was not a good call.
Mm-hmm. But xy&z's theme essentially is video games, and by video games I mean classic 90s era video games, which is where all these god-awful color schemes are also coming from as well. Of all the things to do as a throwback, why did you bring the colors as well?
Because, it was the 90s, man. And gaming, and oh god, why did they do these colors?
Yeah. That's gonna be the real bad thing if I like xy&z, because when figure arts are made, I'm gonna be like, I want the figure arts of xy&z and all of the other riders, and I'm like, these are gonna look terrible next to everyone else on the shelf.
Yeah. That's something too. I don't think they were thinking about that.
Yeah.
It's you put these riders against really any other rider.
Mm-hmm.
And they're gonna stand way out.
In a bad way.
Yeah. That might have been what they were going for, but if that's the case, why?
Mm-hmm. Well, we do have a collectible gimmick for this year, for this coming series. It's the gas hats which are these little handheld cartridges as they're being described, which according to one person's account of X8's cameo in the movie, he actually blows on the cartridge for the finisher before he inserts it. I just throw up my hands and go, I'm done now. Literally blows on the cartridge before he inserts. It's like, okay, you didn't realize you're wearing a helmet and it doesn't work that way, right? God damn it. But yeah, the gas hats are going to be used for forms and attacks, and also a additional gimmick, which is this level up system that is being implemented for all the riders. So each of the riders has a level 1 form, which is this chibi looking form, which is a full suit in the show, by the way, because that suit actually debuted first before the movie on a talk show alongside Takeru's actor and I believe Ichigo and Nigo in suit. But yeah, that's a full suit that exists.
Which, you know what's funny?
What?
The level 1 suit really doesn't feel that bad kind of deal.
No.
Like, the color scheme's still there, but there's so much... I'm assuming that's supposed to be white.
It's kind of a whitish silver. It's got a bit of a sheen to it.
But yeah, it's got enough of that to break it.
Mm-hmm.
For
those wondering how that appearance went, the suit acting for the chibi suit, the guy was cocky as fuck. When Takeru introduced him and the camera panned over, he's leaning against the railing of the stands for the audience and just jauntily walks over until he trips on the little step up to the stage. I believe it was on purpose. If that is any indication of our main character, I'm in. I kind of want a cocky idiot. But yeah, we got a level 1 suit. The level 2 suit is the base suit, the main X8 suit we see, and it looks like to be the main suit for all of the riders. And then a level 3 suit, which apparently adds in add-ons, I believe. Like add-ons these different robots onto the suit. I believe is how they're being described. I don't think the article has that full information, but remembering from other stuff about the X8 scans, that seems to be the case. And in one picture for the 3 main riders of the show, I believe, which are X8 himself, the RPG gamer, Brave, and then the shooting gamer, Snipe, which totally doesn't look like Sengoku designed this suit.
Yeah.
Those 3 plus Racer, which is X8's bike, which has a chibi form. Its main form is the bike form, and it levels up into the main form, or into its rider form. All 4 of them can access a Dragon Knight form that is actually based off the Monster Hunter genre, I believe. And then finally we have Genmu, who is literally a black repaint of X8.
And I'm assuming is gonna kind of be our anti-hero for the first part of the show.
I don't know. No real story information has come out, really, or at least any confirmed story information.
Well, I mean, it seems funny. We've got this 4th level for all of the other 4, and he's just kind of in the dark. It feels like that's going to be secondary rider concept.
And if it's just me, it seems like Genbu's level 3 involves him having a bike attached to him, considering that shoulder pad.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, it does match X8. So, yeah. More than likely.
So we got the Gamer Driver. We've got the Gascon Breaker, which is a hammer/sword weapon. That is X8's main weapon. We have the Gascon Sparrow, which I believe is, if I can find the right scan for it, it's here. Might not be here. There it is. That is actually Racer's main weapon, which is an arrow that can split into a pair of... trying to think. Shit. Not nunchucks. What is... police batons, essentially. We've also got the Gascon Magnum, which is Snipe's main weapon, which can go from pistol to rifle mode. And finally we got the Gascon Sword, which has a flame and an ice mode, and it will be Brave's weapon. And then Genmaru has the Gascon Bug Visor, which seems to be, what, like camera mode and a gun mode from the looks of it?
Huh.
Alright, let's see. Brave's got the Quest Gas Hat, and he has the additional Beat Gas Hat, which gives him his level 3 form. Snipe has the Bang Bang Shooting Gas Hat. And then his... where is his level 3? His level 3 is the Jet Combat Gas Hat. X8's level 3 is the Robots Gas Hat. What's it? Geki Totsu Robots Gas Hat. And Chase... I was about to say Chase. It's like, that's not Chase. Racer! There it is. Racer's level 3 gas hat is the Giri Chanbara gas hat, which gives him his rider form. And then the Dragonite Hunter gas hat is a level 4 form all 4 riders can access. Don't know if there's going to be multiple of them or
That's what I was wondering.
Yeah. This might be something that gets passed around over the course of the early series. I expect this Dragonite gas hat to be maybe our Jimba form. For now. I don't know, what do you think?
Maybe. Like, I could probably see that.
I know it's too early for like any other forms in conversation right now, but this seems like if anything is a Jimba form, it's this. Especially considering we're getting what, essentially 5 riders off the bat.
I think it's gonna be. I think if there's only one of them, it's gonna be more akin to how Dead Heat was.
Yeah. Because Dead Heat was introduced fairly quick.
And it was something there was only one of, so yeah, they kind of had to share.
Of course, we also don't know, like, if these guys are allies or enemies or what. Like, I assume X8 and Racer will be allies, considering Racer is X8's bike.
Yeah.
I assume Racer will be essentially kind of like Autovagin from Fives. Autovagin was Fives' bike that could take onto a robot humanoid form with a Gatling gun. So I assume Racer will just be something to help out X8 every now and again.
Yeah, but I mean, if he's getting billed as a rider, I think he might have more importance than that.
Yeah. Then we have Brave, Snipe, and then Genmu, and I don't know. I think Genmu's gonna be a villain, but Brave and Snipe, I have no idea.
I think Genmu's at least gonna be anti-hero at the start, like we've seen the past how many series?
You? Quite a few.
But yeah, I'm kind of getting that vibe.
Mm-hmm. And Snipe might be just a wild card in the bunch. Might be super loner type.
Yeah.
Of course, I believe the rumored story stuff I did read didn't mention any of the others. It just mentioned xy&z or whoever's to become xy&z. So we super don't have any information on them. That pretty much is it out of the scans. The additional scans we got are just scans of the actual suit from the movie. That gives you an idea how the level 1 and level 2 suits are going to look in show. Color's a little bit because of how the scan went, but gives you a good idea. Especially how cheap that fucking belt looks. Production team wise, we do know who's writing the show. It is Yuya Takahashi, whose most noteworthy thing, excuse me, is he wrote the recent Lupin III material, and he wrote Tiger and Bunny, which Tiger and Bunny was pretty good. I have no experience with Lupin III, but that's a fairly well-respected series. And the recent stuff that he wrote went over well, so we have a good writer on board, but not a Toku writer. So considering like the now mixed bag we got between Urobuchi and the guy who wrote Ghost, I say 50-50. Have to wait and see on that one.
Well, to be fair though, Gaim's big success kind of boiled down to the fact of getting to the point of what writer shows probably needed to be, kind of deal. Because if you think about any of the plots, they're all kind of dark plots. But most of the time they take the lighter side of it. They try to hide the fact that someone dies or is being possessed or whatever, and kind of keep that in the shadows. Gaim was like, look, the world's screwed, we're just gonna go with it, and if you don't like it, fine. And I think that's kind of what really brought it out. It knew it was dark from the start and said, we're doing it.
Plus, it helped that Urobuchi wrote the entirety of Gaim, and the guy that wrote Ghost didn't write the entirety of Ghost, and wasn't there for pivotal points in the series, which is why it dragged for so long. Motoi Sasaki will be producer. He's got credits for Go Busters and Gaim. So honestly, when it comes to producers and directors, that's not what I try to focus on in terms of how is the quality of the show, because I feel like when it comes to defining the quality of a show, writers, I would say might have more influence than anyone else.
The way I understand it, they do, but they don't, kind of deal. Like, in terms of writers, I think they kind of have more of the getting the baseline down, and then it's more on the directors and the production staff to kind of be like, okay, this is what needs to be in the final cut.
Okay.
So ultimately it's kind of the combination, but yeah, production kind of gets final say kind of deal.
Well, at very least, I feel like you can feel if a show was good or not. You can get a good sense if a show is going to be good or not, depending on who's writing it.
Yeah.
Usually, if it's a good writer, it will be a good show. If it's a bad writer, if it's a bad show, rarely they will not do good. But finally, Shojiro Nakazawa will be directing. He's got directing credits for Time Ranger through Tokyuger for Sentai, so he is used to very brightly spandex heroes through multiple years. Jesus Christ, that is a long time directing for Sentai.
Well, and you think about it too. a director for Sentai with a rider show with multiple riders, that might be a good thing.
Mm-hmm. And this is someone who's been around for a long time too. Time Ranger is, strangely enough, one of the 90s era Sentai shows and a fairly loved Sentai show. And for him to be around from Time Ranger through to 2 years ago Sentai Toku, that means he's got a lot of directing experience, so yay! We do, thanks to the Ghost soundtrack that went out recently, have a little bit of a snippet of what maybe the music could be sounding like for xy&z, because we got the background song for xy&z's cameo in the Ghost Summer movie, and I will say, listening to it, that feels kind of akin to this comment of they're going all out with this fucking video game theme for xy&z.
Yeah, and I'm kind of curious how far they're actually going to go with it.
Well, at the very least, in the Ghost movie, he does a Mario reference with a jump, so we're already hitting there. But granted, Zoroger beat him to the punch by having the main supporting character named Mario and having the goddamn exclamation point block in the show as a giraffe support mech. So, referencing Mario is not out of the wheelhouse for Toei right now. The question is, how far out will they go?
I think the better question is, how far out can they go? Because, so many people are like, oh, that's copyright infringement, I'm taking you to court kind of deal.
I would think as long as they don't name drop it, they're fine. Or at least they twist it enough they're okay with it.
Yeah.
To point out, Asagao Academy has a multitude of Nintendo references, but Nintendo didn't drop the hammer on Asagao Academy, and you actually have to pay for that game. You can pay for that game. But they dropped the fucking hammer on the Pokemon fan game and the Metroid 2 remake.
Yeah. Which sucks. But, yeah.
Plus, I would think, considering, how big both companies are, Nintendo won't, be like, you're references to Toei, I would think.
I don't know. It could happen.
Yeah.
It's just a question of how, as long as they don't go too far and overstep that one extra boundary, then it'll be fine, kind of deal.
Mm-hmm. But anyway, that looks like to be pretty much it for all the xy&z material we have at the moment. But we are only a couple months out. October 2nd will be the premiere date. And as far as I understand from episode titles we've gotten, Ghost will be ending a little bit early, and the last 2 episodes of Ghost Run will be a 2-part crossover with xy&z.
So, kind of like they've been doing.
Yeah. Although, more so now, because the Drive one was only 1 episode crossover with Ghost.
Yeah.
And I think the 2 episodes might be the case of Ghost might have been doing bad enough for they're going, yeah, we're going to do 2 episodes of this. Especially since it's also superhero year for Toei with anniversaries of both Rider and Sentai, so might be wanting to go a little bit more all out. Hell, they've already announced the Ghost xy&z movie, because there's posters of it about, it's just the Ghost xy&z movie. There's no title for it or anything. It's just like, this December, Ghost and xy&z crossover! And I'm like, well, xy&z won't be that far along into the show when that premieres. Hell, production of that movie might be starting at the exact same time the show starts, which might cause the exact same issues that happened to Genesis to happen to this movie.
I hope not.
I hope not either.
I think what needs to happen is they need to go back to the method they were going with before.
Mm-hmm.
The whole 2 separate movies and then the crossover part. Because that worked better, and Genesis suffered horribly by not doing that.
I think also Genesis suffered from the fact that like they fucking had 2 separate versions of the movie and 1 cut of it.
But I mean, that's kind of what I'm saying too. It's like they could have. I wonder if part of that was boiled down to they had to pad.
I know all of the present stuff feels like padding. Like all the present stuff with Spectre and Mach and eventually Chase teaming up feels like padding.
That's why
And
I'm
also-
kind of wondering if maybe that's why we wound up with 2 different versions of the movie kind of mashed together.
And also, just talk about more Genesis a little bit, and probably we'll be talking about this more, so that will probably be a thing that gets put in the title card, because there's 2 extra slots, and I don't want to mess with the spacing on shit already, even though there's a tool I made for judging the spacing for the buttons in the title card.
Good one.
A weird thing about the Genesis movie is Spectre hands Mach an icon to change forms with. Like, and here's the thing, it's not one of the regular icons that Spectre uses. No, it's one of the fucking bad guy icons.
Huh.
And it's I don't know if it's Raphael or Michelangelo, but he hands him one of the 2 because those 2 get them late into the movie, and he hands him just like, oh yeah, you can use this, and I'm like, this is not how these moments work. You know that, right? Also, you can't use that icon. Like, I hate to break this to you, but I don't think you can use that icon. So that's also what makes me go, yeah, I think a separate version of this. There are 2 versions of the movie in this script, and it's just shoved together to make it work.
And like I said, I think that's the problem that one had. Rather than having 2 separate movies that happen to merge together at the end, they tried to have one full movie with both sets of characters, and that don't work.
Yeah.
It's not gonna work physically without you screwing one or the other, or in this case, both. Because I get the whole time travel was going to be a part of the movie.
Yeah.
Like, I get that. Every movie that Drive had outside of the outside of the Game Drive one, kind of focused that.
Yeah.
I mean, time travel was kind of associated with Drive. That's understandable that that's going to be in Genesis, but it's like, okay, how that was done to try to keep it in somewhat of a continuity with Ghost, even though that screwed up because, the show wasn't out when the movie was being written, so things collide horribly.
Yeah. And also the continuity of Drive, when they go back in time, the fact that the Drive driver exists with Krim in it makes no goddamn sense. Because they go 10 years in the past, and I'm like, Krim didn't die 10 years ago. He died like 2.
Okay, that compounded with the fact of the reason the Roid Mutes were back was because of their time travel.
Which makes no goddamn sense.
That don't happen. They would have had to have time traveled before all of that, and even then the Roid Mutes still would have been there.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no way that could have physically happened. But it's like, Okay. So you're screwing not one but both of them because you tried to use a mechanic that Drive had kind of been built around for the movies, but keep it within some sort of continuity of Ghost, even though that doesn't happen either.
Yeah. What's funny is the writer for the movie marathoned through the entirety of Drive before he wrote the movie. So he obviously had to know when Krim died and went, I'm going to push it back further. Unless, for some reason, Krim got pulled through a time portal as well and was pulled out of time. Which is stupid. Because Tamari says he left the drive driver there, which doesn't fix the time hiccup that causes the roid mutes to happen, which is bullshit. Because, I'm sorry, just saying butterfly effect is bullshit. No. You can't just wave away the reason something went something got fucked because of time travel as the butterfly effect. That is a lazy excuse.
Yeah.
Lazy. Just saying, oh, it happened because you did something, but did something completely unrelated is stupid. Like, there had to be a specific reason why. Like, I can understand the roid muse being around if, I don't know, like, the drive driver disappeared. Like, Krim in the drive driver disappeared before the global freeze happened. The first global freeze happened. Like, that would make sense. Kind of.
But we would have to have seen that.
Yeah.
Not to mention, how would you have been able to explain that one off and it work within the movie?
Yeah. Because the roid muse just suddenly appear, and it's like, oh, they just show up. It's not like they've been ruling, which was their entire thing. No, they just show up with Heart, Brain, and Medic just show up with an army and just start whooping ass.
And I mean, based off of what can be assumed off of that, we have to think that that was all of the roid mutes.
Mm-hmm.
So, because I don't think it ever said it was all of them. But I don't ever think it didn't either.
Well, it's the three of them and a whole bunch of the base bodies. And that's it.
That's why I'm like, I have a funny feeling that was all of them, kind of deal.
Yeah.
So,
it honestly would have made more sense if, the main villain was like, I'm just gonna, make evil versions of all the roid mutes or something, and then throw them at the heroes to keep them distracted.
Yeah.
But Chase comes back for no reason, and then he disappears when the time bullshit's solved, and I'm like, alright, 1, fuck you. 2, Chase could be revived, theoretically, legitimately.
Wait, that's another thing.
Yeah.
That I just thought about. All of the roid mutes, including Chase, had their memories from the end of the show, too.
Yeah.
So that can't even have happened.
And Heart, Brain, and Medic are in their ultimate evolutions, too. Hell, Heart references the fact that he was dead. He references the fact that he died. This is not butterfly effect. This is you going, here's a reason why, and no, it doesn't work, because it doesn't work that way. You can't have that be butterfly effect and Heart reference the fact that he died. And then at the same time, have Chase act like everything's normal when he shows up. And I'm like, what?
Yeah, but I mean, even he acknowledges that.
When he disappears?
Yeah.
Not when he first shows up.
Okay, to be fair, we're talking about Chase.
Yeah.
He doesn't tell you anything unless you ask.
True. But I'm like...
That part's been proven.
Yeah. And hell, after that... excuse me. After that first initial fight, their army disappears and all it is Heart, Brain, and Medic.
Yeah.
It's just them. And I'm like, why the fuck did you revive the army then if you're not gonna fucking use them? Because I don't think Spectre and Mach blew up that entire army in that cutaway, by the way.
Yeah, I highly doubt they blew up 105 roid mutes in a matter of, what, a few hours?
Less than that.
I just don't see that happening. Especially when some of them roid mutes it took, like, Formula and Trideron to destroy.
Yeah. But yeah, I just... Genesis is a mess, in case anyone's wondering. Now, also, I've seen the Raw for the Kamen Rider Ichigo movie, and I skimmed through that, and... I don't think I even care enough to even attempt to watch a sub of that. Because I'm like, A, this is a Ghost movie already, which means I am not really that invested into it because of how Ghost has been in the last few episodes. And by few, I mean the last, like, 12.
I have to ask, is it more focused around Ghost or Ichigo?
I believe the story is more about Ichigo than it is Ghost. But if you're to ask me what the fuck the movie's about, I have no fucking idea. All I know is fucking Business Shocker shows up and is like, hey, regular Shocker, fuck you. We're doing work here. And they're fighting. And somehow, some girl that's that I think the girl who is Ichimon's daughter, I believe. Daughter or granddaughter. Ichiban was the guy who mentored the first 7 riders, and also his racing team logo is the logo for Ichigo and Nigo. So, like, Ichigo, like, is very protective of her. So she's caught in the middle of this all this Shocker nonsense. Regular Shocker wants her for some reason. Business Shocker just shows up and I guess are not happy that regular Shocker's doing shit. So they fight and the movie goes on from there and we have 2 factions of Shocker doing shit. And Ichigo has his new suit for reasons I don't want to know. Also, at the beginning of the movie, he has a heart attack, I believe. And I'm like, wait a minute. How the fuck does a cyborg have a heart attack? Wait, what? How does a Shocker-built rider? Because bear in mind, Ichigo became Ichigo through Shocker. Why would they? What? He's a cyborg. Like, does he still have a regular heart? And if so, how the fuck does he have a heart attack? Do you think they would keep that maintenance or shit? So yeah, Ichigo's having a heart attack. By the way, he also dies at one point in the movie. Only to be revived for reasons? I don't know. They have a funeral pyre for him. Have a funeral fire for him that they lay him on top of, and for some reason the belt opens, absorbs the fire, and boom, Ichigo's back up and running. And I'm like, fuck it, I don't give a shit. I just don't care. I think by the end of the movie, both factions of Shocker are defeated. Ichigo goes by, says bye, leaves, and then Ichiban's granddaughter is just back to living a normal life. And oh, by the way, Sage also has moments in this movie that I hate to watch because I'm like, fuck this asshole, by the way. Fuck this asshole. Just, ugh. Because I don't... it's been revealed that Sage and the fucking magistrate guy from the Genma world are the same person. Ghost is a mess, and I can't even begin to explain to you what's going on. All I know is they're in the middle of finally being done with the Demia project bullshit that's existed far longer than it should have been, and I don't care. I literally don't care anymore. Because they killed off 13 Genmeisers to bring them back in this episode. Killing 13 Genmeisers over the course of these last few episodes, and now they're all back. and they're fine. Also, the Genmeisers are, I think, all now in the form of another Spectre, who apparently also has the Deep Spectre icon, because it's going to be Deep Spectre versus Deep Spectre next week, according to the preview. So, yeah, Ghost is... I don't think I can muster up the fucks to finish the series at this point. I don't know why. I don't think I can. Have you even tried? Hello?
Hello.
I was asking you, like, have you even tried to pick back up Ghost?
No.
I don't think I can. I don't think I can finish it, because I'm like... I watched the sub episode from TV Nihon, because, by the way, Overtime hasn't subbed this past week's episode. Yet. I don't think they still have. Oh no, they just now subbed it today. Today.
Wow. A week after it aired.
Yeah, I watched the TV Nihon sub of it, and I'm like, I don't care anymore. Like, we are like what, 5-6 episodes away from this series being over, and I can't muster the fucks to finish to watch those 5 or 6 episodes. Like, I can't, because the show has went so off the rails, been so just ugh, these last few weeks, that I can't stand the show anymore. Like, the last 3 episodes, I've just skimmed through to see what happened, and that's been it. Yeah. So. But on the flip side, Zyuohger has been great. Integrating Zuo the World has been fantastic. It's just like, how is Zyuohger so good and Ghost so terrible? This is the other way around. This is how it's been for 2 years, is the other way around. What the fuck happened? Also, why can't we have a good Sentai show and a good Rider show on at the same time?
Because Ghost exists.
We haven't had that since... Oh, shit, what was on with Kyoryuger? Fuck. Kyoryuger and Guy were on the same time, right?
I don't know.
Let me look. I don't think we've had a good Sentai and a Rider show at the same time since Kyoryuger Gaim in 2013. Because that moved us into Tokyuger, and Tokyuger wasn't that good. And then it moved us into Shuriken Sentai, which wasn't that good. And that was the entire, like, the last half of Gaim, first half of Drive. And then it's been Shuriken Sentai Ghost. And it will now go into, and now we're in the Zyuohger X8, and hopefully everything goes fine. Yeah, Zyuohger's been great. Like, I don't know what's happened, but Zyuohger's been good, stayed good. My only problem with Zyuohger is they haven't done anything anniversary-wise, but it seems like they're going to fix that, because apparently, according to some behind-the-scene photo, Marvelous from Gokaiger is showing up on set.
Huh.
And it's the actual actor, because I don't think we've seen him, but someone is wearing his coat. So I'm like, okay, he's showing up in person. So cool. Also, the 2000th or the 200th episode of Super Sentai is going to be happening during Zyuohger's run, I believe. Let me me see if I can find the comment real quick. I believe it's the 200th episode. Or 2000th episode. A 2 with a multitude of zeros behind it is going to be debuting during Zyuohger. But, like, the year's already half over, and now they're doing anniversary stuff with Zyuohger, which feels weird. Because they've done nothing for Superhero Year for Sentai. It's all been Rider. Because, like, the Ichigo movie was for Superhero Year. Kamen Rider Amazons was for Superhero Year. The Ghost Rider mini episodes were for Superhero Year. Oh, by the way, according to photos, the 2 chicks from those specials, the Rider Icon specials, were showing up this week. I don't know in what capacity, because I didn't watch the Raw. So, they're showing up. But Zyuohger's been good. I've been happy with that. And that is the short and long I can say about Zyuohger. It's just like, it's been good. The World's been great. And this is a team show, not a red-only show. Hell, an episode that could have easily fallen into the trap of being a red-only episode didn't. It still was a team episode. It was just red-focused. But red didn't, like, take over the entire show for the episode. Yeah. Anything you that you've been watching you wanna talk about or bring up?
No, not that I can think of.
Have you seen any of the trailer stuff for the new season of Rebels yet?
Nope.
Oh. Best I can tell you is Ezra has grown up a little bit. He had a growth spurt. Now he is fairly tall now. So I'm guessing they're letting a couple years pass. Yeah, they're ramping up for what looks to be a good season of Rebels. Granted, there's still the hanging question of what the fuck are you doing with the Ghost crew before episode 4 has to happen. Especially since Rogue One is coming out this year, like this winter. And that's a fairly big Star Wars movie, and that's in this time period. Because that's a pre-episode 4 movie. So, I have to wonder if there's going to be any tie-ins to that or not. Yeah. Guess I can talk about X, Y, and Z and how it's been the last few weeks. Even though I've gushed about X, Y, and Z on, like, a bunch of other stuff. Pokemon X, Y, and Z has been fantastic. Oh my god, I cannot recommend this new Pokemon show enough. And the fact that it has an Arc 5 connection is, like, even crazier for me, at least. Because Yuya's voice actor voices Alan in the show, who's a fairly prominent character in the Mega Evolution specials, and is right now Ash's main opponent, or Ash's opponent in the finals of the conference. Which is the end Pokemon League tournament. And this week's episode, which is the first half of their matchup, which is a 6v6, they went 1-for-1 back and forth at a fast-paced brawl, and it was glorious. Like, it was they just go back and forth, trading knockout for knockout, until they are literally both down to 3 Pokemon apiece going into the second episode.
Huh.
And right now, the fight is Alan's Charizard, which is what he Mega Evolves into Mega Charizard X, versus Ash's Pikachu, which is taking a fair bit of damage from between Alan's Metagross and the first fight against Alan's Larvitar. But yeah, it was fast paced. Like there's some reused animation in there, but it just looks glorious and keeps you on your edge because like Ash's Pokemon don't just outright win fights. Like they have to battle it out a little bit in order to get the win. But yeah, XYZ is so good. I cannot wait for the TGSR episode where we're watching the first 2 episodes of X and Y. I would say, let's watch the first 2 episodes of X, Y, and Z, but especially with some of the things that happen in X, Y, and Z, you lose the impact of some of those moments. Especially going into this league conference, Ash building his team all this way feels great. Because every member of Ash's team has gotten focus in an episode. I think Pichu is the least one, but that's to be expected. But every one of them's gotten a focus episode of some sort. Yeah, the 3-for-3 is Greninja, which can become the Ash Greninja form. Pikachu and Gudra, which is a Kalos Pokemon, against Alan's Charizard, that can become Mega Charizard, his Bisharp, and a unknown 6. Which, interesting enough, because of how Alan's team is set up, not all of his Pokemon Mega Evolve, which was a speculation on my part. Considering his only other second Pokemon was a Metagross, which can Mega Evolve, I was thinking he would have a team of Pokemon that can all Mega Evolve. And him starting out with his Larvitar made me think so. But he then went on to have an Unpheasant and the Bisharp. So, doesn't seem to be the case. But it also means, his 6 Pokemon could be anything. But I think it will only be around to combat Gudra, because I think essentially, I think how this fight's gonna go down is they're gonna both take out all 5 of the remaining 2 Pokemon outside of Charizard and Greninja, and it's gonna come down to Charizard and Greninja. It's gonna be a Mega Evolution versus the Ash Greninja. Ah, shit, I forgot. They gave it a name in the last couple episodes, but I can't think of the name for it. They've now given a name to what this thing is. But it's gonna come down to those 2, and I know from animation, the Ash Greninja has a big-ass fire-water shuriken it throws at one point. I don't know if that's the final move or not, but holy fuck, are we gonna be in for some gloriousness. Because the kind of the quality of animation we've gotten right now, because I've shown you, the final roundup between the Mega Sceptile and the Ash Greninja from Ash and Shota's fight from a couple episodes ago.
Yeah.
That is the quality of animation we got for the entire show. That is what you expect for the entire show. So, I'm excited to get your guys' impressions, especially since, as someone pointed out on Tumblr, you could draw some weird comparisons considering, both of these shows have been fairly great shows, with, weirdly enough, both having big breakout female characters that are main characters. And they also have female characters that are named Serena. And of course, the Alan voice actor connection. I don't know if there's any other weird voice actor connections, but I do know you can connect Arc 5 to Build Fighters Try, because Reggie voices one of the people for Build Fighters Try. And it's a bit weird to hear that as well. Because they're not playing the same character, but you kind of have the same voice. So yeah, I honestly highly recommend XY and XYZ. Is it long? Yes, because we're in the hundreds of episodes for the show, I believe. Let me look at the number of episodes real quick. I'm sure it's in the hundreds. We're at 130. Yeah, 130 right now. And we're gonna be released at 134. That's all we have episode titles so far. So it's a fairly long show, but now is a perfect time to catch up, considering we're going in the Sun and Moon comes out this in November. Now would be a perfect time to binge watch the show, because I don't know what they're gonna do for how they're gonna do the transition in the Sun and Moon, because here's the thing: Serena has been a very great character. She's also been a very poignant love interest for Ash, which is the thing I don't think you can really say about anyone else in terms of a party member for Ash, ever. And while they have mentioned an out for her to stay in Kalos, it's not a definitive out for her. And people have wondered if Serena will get to continue to travel with Ash into the Alolan region, especially since one of the player characters for Sun and Moon looks just like Serena.
Well then.
Yeah. Almost dead on. Bear in mind, the player character has some customization to it, but one of the options, it does look like Serena. And it's well... I mean, hell, Ash is the closest he's ever been to winning a goddamn tournament. He's never made it to the finals till now, and he very clearly has a shot at winning. He could win this. Even though they keep teasing, somebody's gonna fucking interrupt this goddamn final. And when they do, I will be you have made it to where I will literally hate these villains, because I don't want this final to be interrupted. Because they're teasing Rocket interrupting the final, they're teasing Team Flare to interrupt the final, and I'm if any of you motherfuckers interrupt this final, I want God to literally strike you down for this. Because fuck you. This is far too fucking hype for it to be stopped. Don't.
It'll get stopped.
Oh my god, if it gets fucking interrupted. At the very least, at least have it be implied that Ash would have won otherwise. Because it's if Ash Greninja can beat the champion of the goddamn region, that trumps Alan's Charizard beating an Elite Four member. That trumps it. I know that's an argument one can bring up going into the next episode, but I'm being able to keep up and possibly beat Diantha with her ace, I think trumps beating an Elite Four member. I'd say that trumps it. Because Champion trumps Elite Four. Especially considering how, ridiculously strong Diantha's Gardevoir is. And bear in mind, that was in Mega Evolved form. That it's implied to be able to beat. Straight up. And that was before they mastered it. They've mastered it since then. And I'm just yeah. Ash can win this. I don't know what Alan's got in his back pocket on his 6 Pokemon, but I do believe Goodra with his Endurer can trump it. Or at the very least, bring this to a tie. So I cannot recommend XY and Z enough. It's such a great show, and it's been a great watch from start to finish, especially on a binge watch. I believe you can watch X and Y dubbed on Netflix, but if you want to watch it subbed, it's easily available. The entire show is subbed up to the current episodes. Just the last few episodes aren't subbed to the best of quality. Keep that in mind. The only subgroup that I know of that is subbing X, Y, and Z are only up to episode 35 of X, Y, and Z, which is like 2 episodes behind, I believe. Yeah, it's about 2 episodes behind. So keep that in mind.
Well,
Arc 5 continues to be good. What's bad is I'm thinking of better ways to do Arc 5. Because I have this theoretical rewrite in my head, so I have even material up to current episodes that could be improvements. Figured I mentioned Arc 5 since it's on the buttons, but I only put Arc 5 and Double on there since they have dedicated shows to us looking at them. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I mentioned Firefly, but you can watch TGS for my impressions of Firefly. Since I did that as a quick draw, because I had nothing else to talk about. But that's really it. Anything else?
no?
Any hopes for Xaid?
Until we know more about it, I don't know. I'm just gonna kind of hope for the best.
All I'm gonna say is Cheat Code Rider for Dark Rider, and just end it there.
Well,
Like,
movie
that needs-
exclusive Dark Rider.
Yes, that is the villain of the movie, Cheat Code Rider, and let that person be the worst representation of gamers on the internet. Like, I want Cheat Code Rider to be a whiny brat, because that would be perfect. But we'll close out on that note. For Tommy, I'm Peace. Good night, everybody, and we'll see you whenever we record another episode of this.